A few weeks ago, one morning my legs hurt. Not sharp, not injury, the dull, heavy kind. Ankles, Achilles, calf, lower calf. The kind of sensation you get when your blood has been sitting somewhere too long and the body just wants to move what it's been holding. My first thought was practical. I'd skipped my leg up the wall routine that morning. That was probably it. I almost left it there. But I've been building this practice of not leaving it there, of holding the obvious explanation loosely and asking one more question before I close the file. So I did. A few days prior, I had foot pain, and when I checked what was going on energetically, what came up was putting my foot down. Literally. Once I worked through it, it cleared. So that was my first check that morning. I tested it energetically. It was strong, meaning that wasn't the primary thing running. I kept going. I tested pushing off, reaching forward, and then I noticed both legs, not one side, both, which shifted the frame entirely. This wasn't about one direction or one action. It was about something bilateral, something that involved both sides equally. Standing on my own 2 feet. I tested it, weak. I strengthened it, and I filed it. Probably connected to leaving my job at the time. Worth watching, of course, and I moved on. The heavy ache in my legs released, not gradually, immediately. A few minutes passed, and I was thinking about someone in my field, a mentor figure, someone I respect. I noticed he was redesigning his website, and my mind just started running. He should collaborate with me on a podcast. That would be so much better than me starting one alone. It'd be ideal, actually, blah, blah, blah. And I stopped because there it was. The thing my body had already filed under standing on my own 2 feet, the ambivalence, the not quite readiness, the pull towards someone else's structure instead of building my own, it had just shown up fully as a fully formed thought, like it had been waiting for me to catch up. The body knew before I did, not by days, by minutes, but minute is enough because it means the body was already living in that conflict while my conscious mind was still holding for a logical reason. My legs felt heavy. Now, here's the part that I find genuinely fascinating. This isn't mysticism. There is documented science around it. A neuroscientist called Antonio Damasio developed what he called the somatic marker hypothesis. The basic idea is that the body generates feeling states before the rational mind forms a coherent thought. The body isn't reacting to the thought, it's participating in building it. And then there's Benjamin Libet in the 1980s. He ran experiments measuring brain activity and found something that had caused a lot of philosophical chaos that still hasn't been resolved. He found that the body was already moving, already committed to an action several hundred milliseconds before the person was consciously aware of deciding to do it. The decision, as we experienced it, was the last thing to happen, not the first. There's a framework and more recent neuroscience called predictive processing that takes this even further. The idea is that your consciousness, your unconscious mind is always running ahead. It's constantly modeling, testing, resolving, below language, below the level where anything registers as a thought yet. And what surfaces as a conscious realization is closer to a readout, the final broadcast of a process that has been running without you. The body is how that process leaks through before the broadcast is ready. So, what does that mean practically? It means when something is unresolved in you, something you haven't named yet, something you're negotiating with yourself about without knowing it, your body is already holding it, filing it in the architecture that makes the most sense. That morning, for me, my ambivalence about standing independently went into my ankles and Achilles. The literal structure involved in standing and pushing off. It wasn't symbolic, it was the nervous system being precise. And when I decoded it, the pain released immediately. Not because I fixed anything, because awareness is all the body was asking for. It was trying to get my attention. Once it had it, in this case, the signal wasn't needed anymore. I've been using, personally, this kind of inquiry for a while now, checking what's running underneath physical sensation before I default to the practical explanation. And it works often enough that I take it seriously. But that morning, it was different because for the first time, for me, I watched the sequence happen in real time. I felt the body holding something, I decoded it, and then minutes later, I watched the conscious thought arrive, fully formed, right on schedule, late. That order matters because if I hadn't caught the body first, I would have just had that thought about the podcast, collaboration, and probably acted on it without ever knowing it wasn't really about the podcast. It was about whether I trust myself to stand on my own. The question I'm sitting with now isn't whether this happened, it did. The question is how much I've been explaining away as physical, fatigue, tension, a skip routine, that was actually the first draft of a thought I hadn't finished yet. Probably all of it, if you think about it. And I don't think I'm the only one doing that. So, if your body has been trying to tell you something and you keep finding the logical explanation instead, this is your sign to hold that explanation a little more loosely. Stay in the question one beat longer. The broadcast is coming. Your body already knows what it says.